Hello everyone, today we're going to be playing some Minecraft. Well, I'm not going to show my progress like any typical Minecraft video. It's just going to be showcasing and storytelling or narrative kind of thing. So here's the story for now. I was building a mausoleum for my storage build that could store up to almost billions of items, but I hit a complete dead end. I couldn't complete the mausoleum build at all. Not even 1% or half percent. And that could have really been upsetting for you guys. Then I started watching Minecraft build videos. Creators such as Shovel241, Trixie Blocks, Achilles for MC, Mogswamp, Cookie God, Sandiction, and many more has something that makes the world beautiful. Its connections like pathways, bridges, etc. etc. Now I had the perfect idea. I would build pathways, bridges, fountains, and add foliage and lush to my world. Now, in my world, there are my house, forest, and the naturally generated village as a building. I would start with a pathway leading to my house, to a bridge, then that bridge would connect to a small staircase that would also connect to a pathway that connects the second bridge. Yeah, super mind twisting, I know. Pathway to my house. So this one was pretty easy to build, but not really fun to get the resources. Lush caves after lush caves, smelting and smelting, so much exploration that I went insane. So first, I added some natural looking paths from my house to the bridge. And the bridge, which bridge? I was about to build, and that will be revealed in the next chapter. The combination of the blocks were moss, cracked stone bricks, coarse dirt, rooted dirt, and cobblestone. And near the path were chiseled stone bricks. On top of it were lanterns. They were either on top of the walls, on top of the chiseled stone bricks, or the chiseled bricks themselves. I also added more lush near the path so it felt more attractive and didn't quite feel bland. In the paths, I added some benches, some flower beds, and in the sides of the paths, I added medieval streetlights. It took about 10 in-game days for all of this. I came back and also added a wagon with hay bales on it. I also added a bed for some reason, and not gonna lie, it did look kind of cool. Another thing, this would be in the extra tweaks chapter, but I decided to scrap that. But also, I added a fountain that is on a separate pathway that branched off of the actual pathway leading to my house. And of course, near the fountain, I added a wagon. I guess it's time for you to enjoy the tour, I guess. Next, I decided to make the bridge I was anticipating for, and you were anticipating for as well. I was kidding about the you part. I know you don't even care. You're just here for the bills. Well, anyway, the bridge was looking plain, with one block of oak log with the fence every one block apart. On top of the oak log, or should I say, oak logs, were a lantern. I did the same pattern on both sides of the bridge. And I did this formula for pretty much the second bridge as well. And of course, I did my favorite things, wagons. Well, I gotta say, those are my signature builds anyway. Now, we're drifting away from the topic. The bridge was done, and I also added the oak pillars and stairs below the bridge. Also, the stairs were spruce and were added on the top right and left corners of the oak blocks. Then, I was done with the bridge. Yes, I was done. That was pretty much it. But part of me was saying something. And it always says when I'm about to sleep, when I'm about to do pretty much anything. It was saying that it was incomplete. And I was going through philosophical and almost every type of philosophical questions went through my brain. I was suddenly like Plato. Then suddenly my mom came from the market, and I remembered a market district, a unique type of market district, and under the bridge market district, which is quite unique for this. And I have almost never seen anyone build this type of thing, especially in Minecraft. Also, this district could only fit 6 small stalls, and I decided to make a fish stall, a gemstone stall, a bee stall, a candle stall, a potion stall, and at last a sapling stall. Also, this should have been the tour, but I'm gonna say more. Now, my goofy brain was actually going for a funny vibe, and I also added some names for the owners of these shops. For the fish stall, Jonathan Sadenus Capricanus the 57th. For the gemstone stall, Doofus. Yes, Doofus. For the bee stall, Tiger Jellybean. I don't know why I made that. I don't know why I named him that. For the candle stall, Giggle Flap Mexprong. For the potion stall, Captain Noodles Pants. For the sapling stall, Baron Von Bubblebutt. Unfortunately, like every other trip of transporting the villager to the villager training hall, I went through that pain as well. I had to breed some of the villagers to get more villagers and had to wait for them to grow up, so that I don't get caught in a lawsuit regarding how child labor is bad. Now the transportation part was a bit easy since the bridge was directly connected to the bridge, so I leashed the boats the villagers were in and slapped them onto the stalls. Storage. The eternal struggle of every builder in Minecraft. You start small, a few chests in your starter base, and before you know it, you're drowning in stone, dirt, mob drops, and enough random junks to fill an entire biome. My backup storage was crying for help. Every chest was overflowing, and I couldn't even find basic items anymore. I knew I had to fix this before I lost my mind. So, from the right side of the first bridge, I started a new little project. A pathway leading into a calm, clearing place. This place would be home to my new storage house. At first glance, it looks like a cozy little cottage. Warm wood tones, cobblestone trims, flower beds under the windows, lanterns flickering softly as the sun goes down. Peaceful, simple. But behind those quiet windows lies madness. Because inside that cottage sits 740 chests. Yeah, you heard that right. 740. A fully manual storage system capable of holding about 1.6 million items. No hoppers, no automation, no redstone, just pure old school sorting by hand. Some might call it suffering, I call it therapeutic. Took about 6 in-game days to complete, and during that time, I basically lived in this build. Every day started with mining, smelting, chopping trees, and organizing materials. I followed a YouTuber tutorial by cryptozoology. Thank you for the tutorial. To get the basic layout right, but everything else, the decorations, the exterior, the pots, that was all me. The process itself was kind of zen. I placed a few logs, step back, rethink the palette, swap out cobblestone for andesite, had a few moss blocks for texture. By the time the roof was done, I could already feel the build blending into the landscape. Almost like it had grown there naturally. The sunlight hit the bamboo stalks behind it, and the cherry blossom tree to the right swayed softly, scattering petals near the path. When I stepped inside, it was like entering another world. The lanterns glowed warmly against the deep slate walls, and the lines of chests went on forever. Row after row, column after column. I actually laughed out loud. It looked so small outside, but walking inside felt like stepping into a pocket dimension. It looked organized. It was organized chaos, but it was my chaos. Every section had a purpose. Stones, woods, ores, valuables, mob drops, plants, everything neatly tucked into its own corner. Oh, I was kidding about that. After finishing, I stepped outside and stared at it for a bit. It looked peaceful. Maybe too peaceful. The area around it was bare. Just grass and a few lanterns. It didn't feel alive yet. So I did what I always do when a build feels incomplete. I overthink everything for way too long. I stood there pacing, having a full-blown philosophical crisis about connections in world building. And that's when it hit me. What if this house didn't just exist alone? What if it was connected, part of something bigger? So I grabbed my shovel and started mapping out the pathways. The first path came straight from the bridge and led directly to the front door. The second path looped around the house, forming a circular route, and I'm having a fever, so don't mind my sniffing. So, anyway, the second path looped around the house, forming a circular route, perfect for those cinematic walkthroughs. And the third path extended out, linking the storage house to the second bridge market district. But the paths weren't enough. I needed detail, life. I started planting bamboo and azalea bushes near the corners and lined the walkways with lantern pillars and small flower beds. Then I grew a few cherry blossom trees at just the right spots so that when the petals fell, they'd scatter perfectly over the moss paths. I even added little imperfections. Cracked stones here, there, coarse dirt patch there, to make it look like the time had shaped this place naturally. When it was done, I walked from the first bridge to storage and just took it all in. The sun was setting, the sky was gold, and the lanterns were aglow. The air felt calm, everything. The bridges, the paths, the trees, the gentle flicker of light, all tied together like a little ecosystem. From the outside, the storage looked like a peaceful cottage that a traveler might stumble upon after a long journey. But for me, it was more than that. It was proof that even the most practical builds can carry a bit of soul, that even storage can be beautiful. Next up, I decided it was time to add an animal farmhouse. I'd been staring at the space left of the first bridge for ages, wondering what it needed. And then it hit me. The world felt too quiet. No sound of cows mooing, no sheep bleating, no chickens running around like they're plotting something suspicious. So I grabbed my shovel and started clearing the land. The area wasn't exactly forgiving. Uneven terrain, trees everywhere, and a random pit I'd completely forgotten existed. But eventually, I managed to carve out enough room for what would become one of my biggest builds yet. This farmhouse ended up being larger than my storehouse, and took a solid 14 in-game days to complete. 14 days of non-stop building, tweaking, tearing down, and rebuilding again. Because let's be honest, half of Minecraft is second guessing yourself. When the base structure started taking shape, I knew it needed something special, and that stutter was tragic. Anyway, I didn't want it to be just another wooden building sitting in the field. I wanted it to feel alive. So I started decorating the area with cherry blossom trees and azaleas, letting their colors paint the space around the path. I lined the sides with lantern pillars, benches, and small flower beds to give it that warm countryside vibe. But the secret sauce? The details. I scattered fallen cherry petals along the path so the pink and greens would mix with the stone texture. I added wildflowers for a touch of yellow, then sprinkled leaf litter around to make it look like nature had slowly crept in over time. It's those little imperfections that make a build feel real, like it's been standing there for years. By the time I finished, the whole area had transformed. The pots glowed under the lantern light, the cherry blossom danced in the wind, and the farmhouse sat quietly among it all, cozy, rustic, and completely at home in the world. I just stood there for a while, watching the sunset behind the bridge, hearing the soft sounds of animals in the distance, and thought, yeah, this feels right. Now, I originally thought about adding a rail station but that would have taken way too much time and resources. So instead, I decided to focus on smaller builds that could fill the area and make the place feel more alive. The first thing I've worked on was another bridge. This one connecting the bridge to a huge empty plot that I plan to turn into a farmer's market later on. The bridge itself wasn't massive, only about 50 blocks across, but it still had enough space underneath for me to fit another small market district. I added 5 stalls under it. This time most of them were food related, like crops and meat, while a few sold enchantments and armor. Yeah, armor, even when I had fully stacked enchanted netherite gear. I even turned my enchanted villager into the main enchanted book trader for that spot, which honestly made the place feel more organized. For this bridge, oh my god, that script is so messy. For this bridge, I wanted to mix things up a bit with the design. I did more variation in the fencing so it doesn't look like a copy paste of the first one. At the far end, I built a small archway that served as a gateway. Alright, so it turns out I spoke too much and the bridge section intersected inside the medieval mansion section. So let's get over with this quite fast. Now it was time for another house. For absolutely no reason. I mean, seriously, I could have stopped, and I should have stopped. No, apparently my brain decided to become my own worst enemy and said, yeah, let's do one more massive project. What could possibly go wrong? So here we go again. I decided to build a small medieval mansion, something that was cozy but noble looking, like a home for an old explorer who finally decided to settle down. But first, the grind. Oh man, the grind. This part took about 8 in-game days, and that's because I had to travel across nearly every biome in existence. Forest for oak, tigers for spruce, desert for sandstone, mountains for stone bricks, and at one point I even ended up in a mangrove swamp for mud twigs, mud bricks that I didn't even use. Typical skunkless behavior you see all the time. My stupidity has reached the peak, and my sanity, well, insanity. And while I was out there chopping, mining, gathering, and smelting like a maniac, I had one moment where I turned around and saw my ex-Lalo, Jonathan, just staring at me like he was judging my life decisions. I don't know, maybe he was right. Maybe I am a little too addicted to collecting blocks I'll never use. Anyway, what felt like a lifetime of material hunting, I finally came back home with full inventory and a soul half gone. But that's when the best part started. The actual build, the compound, the quiet rhythm of placing logs, hearing soft click of each block, the evening sun filtering through cherry blossoms nearby. It was almost therapeutic. Each layer of the mansion started taking shape. The artwork, roof, the stone foundations, the warm, glowing lanterns hanging by the door. Slowly, it started to look less like a build, like just another build, and more like a story. A place that had history, like someone used to live there and left traces of their life behind. And while I worked, I realized I wasn't rushing anymore. I wasn't trying to finish it. I was just being there, and I don't know why I'm laughing so much. The build took shape over the course of several in-game nights. I'd stop and watch the stars, listen to the crackle of campfires nearby, and just breathe. Sometimes that's what Minecraft does best. It slows you down. reminds you that time moves whether we do not or not. By the eighth day, the mansion stood complete, a warm glowing beacon against the green hills and cherry trees standing proudly beside it. The world I'd slowly pieced together. I stood there for a while, watching the sun dip behind the mountains, lanterns flickering to life one by one. And it hit me. This was it. The final build of the episode. The full circle. Alright, last time I was interrupted. Now I'm gonna repeat it. And it hit me. This was it. The final build of the episode. The full circle. Every path, every bridge, every block had led to this moment. The greatest enemy of time. Because no matter how grand the build, how bright the light, or how peaceful the world, time always moves forward. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's what gives everything meaning. So I closed the doors of the mansion, turned around and walked down the path, letting the sound of the lanterns hum softly in the wind. The music fades in, the screen darkens, and all that's left is the wind and the world breathing quietly, waiting for the next chapter.